What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of King of the Mix. And today's topic we're going to be discussing is leveling and panning. This is the two steps that I do first, but I just told a lie because technically I don't do level and panning first. I do organization first, but level and panning is the first actual quote unquote movements and moves that I'm making in the mix processing. And the reason why is because that's going to get me halfway to having my work in the mix completed. A lot of people might overthink or might just be all over the place and unorganized on what to do first. You might start reaching for compressors, you might start reaching for EQs, you might start just like trying to make the vocal perfect. And once you start doing all that and you just start making a mess and you just creating a longer process for your workflow when you could have just start leveling, and that helps you eliminate the need to put a whole bunch of processing and effects on tracks. Um, you might start over EQing the drums and the vocals when all you had to do was just get a perfect balance. So as you see on my screen here, we're using a FL Studio. So for you all who want to learn how to mix in FL Studio, what I've done is I have all my tracks. I like to have stuff organized. So as I'm mixing and I want to go back and look at the tracks, I automatically know where everything at and I don't have to do a whole bunch of scrolling. So I like to do stuff in order, by drums, bass, guitars, instruments, vocals, and sound effects and everything else. So I color code everything. You can do stuff the way you want to. It's pretty simple. I got my drums in orange. I got my bass in purple. Got my guitars in green. Got the piano and synths in gray. Got the lead vocals, well, all of the vocals in pink, and I got the sound effects in gray. And the way I lay it out on the playlist and organize it is the same way that it's going to be laid out in my mixer track, as you can see, right? So we going across, it's the exact same way. So everything is the same. So when I'm looking at the playlist, I know which order is going in. When I'm looking at the mixer, I know which order is going in, right? So the song we're gonna be mixing is by Adam Buckley, Drag Me Down. So I'm gonna let you all hear how it sounds already without a good leveling on it. And also this track was much louder. So I put a trimmer on it to take down some of the input. So let's listen to a little bit of it and then we're gonna start leveling and panning. And as you can see, the vocals are like pretty buried in the mix right now. Save me from myself and I'll be free. And you can hear how the bass is just like sitting over top of it, overpowering the vocals. Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win. Try to drag me down, I'm not giving in. I forgot I was playing around with this track earlier and I had accidentally left the compressor on the drum room. But let's try to go back to the chorus part. You can see it's like the vocals almost aren't even on the track. One thing also, when you go in and look at your waveforms, you can also kind of tell what's going to be really low in the mix. Like if you look at the lead vocal and the harmony vocals compared to these background vocals, you see how much smaller this waveform is. So there's two things you can do instead of trying to turn the mixer knob all the way up. Your DAW probably have this. It just looks different, but in FL Studio, if you have one of the updated versions, you can just drag these up a few decibels if you want. But before I do that, I'm gonna just start leveling first and see if I need to do that. So, all right, here's the fun, the leveling and the panning. So I'm gonna select everything, go all the way across, and I'm gonna turn everything down. And I'm currently, you probably can't see it, but I'm using my UF8 mixer. So I'm gonna be mixing with that. So I'm gonna start with the kicks. Let's start, actually, one of the best things you can do is start at one of the busier tracks of the song, like the chorus or the bridge. So that's where I'm going to start from, so we can kind of hear everything and hear how the loudest part of the song should sound. And also, when you're mixing, a lot of the way things should be balanced, they might send you a rough mix that's already pre-balanced and they kind of want it to stay that way, but they might also give you a few notes how it should sound. But also, as an engineer, if they didn't give you any notes or feedback right away, take the initiative to also have a producer's approach, and you kind of dictate how something should sound. Like, don't be afraid to change the mix a little bit, and you know how a good record should sound. Something that I also pulled up for you all, and something that is fine to go back and look at from time to time. If you just Google drum panning or drum set panning, if you don't really know where to pan things, or basic audio engineering panning, you could just type that in on Google and they show you images like this. In case you want to also, if you want to do it from a drummer's perspective or listener's perspective, I like to do it from the drummer's perspective. So that's the way I'm going to pan it. I'm trying to see if we have some toms playing. Oh yeah, I see something here. Let's try to loop that. And as you go back to the image, you see that they got the tom band between 15 and 30%. So if you want to leave it somewhere around that range, that's fine to do. As I'm balancing, like, cause these toms have a sample on it, and you notice that I got the sample higher than the recorded tom. So I kind of like the balance of the sample being more prominent. But a lot of times when you're using a sample, you don't want it to be like too much. You just want it to fill in what's missing. Um, because they recorded on that drum set for a reason. They most likely like those drums. It's just that the sample bringing in like what's lacking. So you don't want to completely like mask their original source. You just want to like mask what's lacking. And after I get the basic balance here, I'm gonna put some stuff in groups. So if I want to just like pull everything down, I don't have to pull every single fader down. I could just pull it down in a group. So let's bring in the overheads. Let's keep the oops, I'm not trying to record. Let's keep that part of the song going, but let's bring in some overheads. As you see, I just muted the overheads. It's okay also while you're leveling to mute stuff. So as you're muting, and if you just feel a bunch of life just go away from the track, then that tells you that that level where you had it is kind of a good place to keep it at. And don't be afraid to crank stuff up either, to really like hear what's going on in that track that you're working with. See, they have a change up right there. Yeah, it was kind of like some like electronic trap drums going on right there. Let's find those. Yeah, you see. That's pretty interesting to throw on a rock song. So let's find that. All right, that's right there, that sample. And we probably going to go back and edit that once we hear the instrumentation on the part that that's playing over. And usually some tracks have a tambourine or some type of high frequency percussion playing alongside of the hat. Since I panned the hat about 30 to the left, if you have something else occupying those frequencies in the percussion, pan at 30% to the right so they won't overlap. And that's another thing with the balancing, so stuff won't be clashing in a busy mix. All right, let's try to bring in some bass now. And go back to the chorus. If you notice with this, the DI, the drive, and the fuzz, the DI is mainly occupying the lows, the low mids. The drive is occupying the mids, and the fuzz is occupying the top. So this won't be too hard to balance. So this is a good recording. So when you got stuff like that, that makes your job that much easier, and you realize like these frequencies aren't clashing too much. These just gonna need a little EQ work, but for the most part, this leveling for the bass shouldn't be too difficult. Remember I said mute some stuff and see does like something become lifeless. And you're gonna always have to go back and play with the bass a little bit once you bring in the guitars. Let's find that bass synth. That's probably comes in the song when we get the change up probably. Oh, it's actually at the beginning. It can't look like it's some type of drop. And maybe some kind of 808 type of thing. Yeah, that wasn't too difficult. All right, so we got quite a few guitar tracks in this song. Let's see where the acoustics. That's kind of towards the end. So yeah, we'll just stay where we at in the chorus, and let's see what we got. It's like it's some type of guitar arpeggio in a way. Got some rhythm. Let's get those the rhythm ones paying hard left and right. I was just testing some stuff out because like there's a lot of ways that you can go with that, and the tones were like really similar, but let's just try to keep it simple. I like that. Just seemed like guitar one seems like it's the driving force of this part of the song. Like it's doing the most, but I don't think it needs to be the loudest part of the guitar. So let's see what we can do with that. Because you got to also remember that the singer still has to shine through. The vocals are very prominent and significant in the song, and you don't want this part, you don't want that fighting with the vocals. And as you're balancing and leveling, you could kind of picture in your head, once you start doing your EQ moves, stuff is just going to smoothen out. And I can tell, like, once you make that guitar much smaller, cut a lot of that low end, it's going to blend in and be tucked in so nicely. And you see, you don't want guitar number 2 clashing with guitar number 1. You hear all that fuzz? It's like it's masking guitar number 1, but at the same time, it's really like taking away hearing that nice texture in guitar number 2. So we're gonna pan this to the right. And you see, I just took the bass down, like as I'm bringing in more guitars, because it's starting to fight a little bit. But you notice I muted the drive bass, the so-called mid-range bass that they have here. You know, the guitars is breathing more, so something is telling me that I can take down this a little bit more. So we got another guitar with a lot of crunch and grit to it, but I panned it to the left and it doesn't sound too bad. Let's move over, find this guitar number 5. Oh, guitar number 5 is by itself. So this is doing this solo thing, so doesn't have to fight with any other guitars. Oh no, wait. Guitar number 2 is fading out here. Trying to loop it perfectly. That's gonna sound so good when you just give that some air top end EQ. This is a really well produced track. Let's bring in a piano. What I'm gonna do with the piano is, because I know in the chorus that arpeggio guitar is playing to the left, so let's start with the piano to the right and let's listen throughout the mix. All right, let's go to the vocals now. We see we have quite a few vocals. So, like I said, some of the vocals was like really low when we was listening to the original mix. So we're gonna see how good could we pan them before we start adjusting the gain on the vocals. But a little trick that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the vocals all the way to the end, and I'm just gonna select everything and just turn it down before I bring in the vocals, just by about like a couple dB. All right, so let's start with the lead vocal and see what we got going on there.
Angel in disguise is what you are to me. Save me from myself and I'll be free.
Like pretty dry and lifeless. Not his performance, but like the recording and there's like really no room sound. So that's another reason why some stuff might overpower it in the mix.
An angel in disguise is what you are to me. me from myself and I'll be free. Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win.
And you see right there how I got louder.
Devil's on my shoulder. Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win.
And that's another thing when you got a good balanced mix, you know what needs compression and what doesn't, and it helps you not to over compress.
Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win. Try to drag me down, I'm not giving in. An angel in disguise is what you are to me.
The harmony is a little more, I don't know if there's two different people, but the harmony a little more deeper voice, so you could just like tuck that underneath
Devil's on my shoulder.
and help the lead push through.
Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win. Try to drag me down, I'm not giving in. An angel in disguise is what you are to me. See me from myself and I'll be free.
Alright, let's move on to the next vocals. The thing is, you don't want to spend too much time when you level and panning. You just kind of want to go quick pace with it. This is the chorus. Yeah.
Don't know why. Feel alive. Yeah, I'm
Notice the further you pan the background vocals, the bigger it sounds. So it all depends on the sound you're going for as far as panning the background vocals. But usually when the voice is deeper in the background vocals, you kind of want them tucked underneath as support versus like turning them up too high and overpower the lead voice if it's not that much low end in the lead voice. Let's go. We got some more backgrounds. He's probably get me tucked too. Let's bring those in a little bit more. kind of good. Let's go to number 5. It sound like that already has some processing on it. And it's kind of, you can like, it's mono, so like mono and small, so maybe you could just add maybe like a telephone effect on there or some saturation, or if you want to just like throw something to like really expand the width of it, uh whatever effect that your client might be okay with. But I forgot that there was also some synth parts in this track that I forgot to mix in. So let's knock those out really quick. Okay. So we see that the synth is basically doing what the guitar is doing. So kind of balance that. And so a little cutting the lows, boosting the highs, or even like mid-side EQs with those to really bring that top out so it could sit on top, but not like overpower anything. So that's simple. Let's go to the second synth. So that's a bottom heavy synth, so we're going to keep that centered. It's one of those things that you more so feel versus hear. See me from myself and I'll be free. But we want to move it out the way of the bass, so we'll put it about 30. So when you pan it too far, you lose some of the mid range of it. Now you got to realize when you got so much stuff going on, something has to take a back seat. Everything can't be up front in your face. Because remember, the vocals, the drum and bass, it's the most important of any song, to be honest. Because you got the rhythm, what's going to get people to dance, and the vocal, you have to hear what the artist is saying. So everything else is secondary after that. And number 4 is bottom heavy too, so we can keep that centered. And we could bring those trap drums, those hip hop drums down some. And that's it. All right, fine. Let's get to those sound effects. Oh. There was a part in the song, I think it was a drop right before the sound effects. Wait a minute. They have one of the effects on there is different. So in that situation, I would just cut that and make it a new track, but for time's sake, we're just gonna leave it there. Here's some kind of explosion. Yeah, see, they got different effects on one track. Yeah, so in that situation, you could just cut that and put it on its own track. And make it do its own thing. But for time's sake, we just will pan effects, and depending on what it is, just move it out the way and turn it down. Not too difficult. And you see why he's still speaking that was going on. Yeah, because you had the scream, the atmosphere of it still going while the guitars was raising up on the left, so that works well together. And let me show you how I would make some buses and group everything together. So I will select all of these and route them to this track only. Change this to all vocals. So now that I got all my vocals, I can manipulate it that way if I want to turn everything up. Or turn everything down. Because you can be like, oh, I got the perfect mix, but these vocals are too loud. And just let me show you, you can do the same thing with the guitars, and especially with the guitars, since we have a lot. We forgot to blend in the acoustic ones. I think those were at the end, correct? Yes. Beautiful. You also have the guide for guitars as well. If you all need help with that, this is a good one. You got the rhythm guitar, the tom, the lead, the acoustic, what we working on right now. You see they kind of got it 50% to the right. And honestly, at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer with a lot of stuff. It's how the client wants their finished product and what sounds aesthetically pleasing. If the acoustic guitar sounds good all the way to the left, then fuck it, put it all the way to the left. See, in that case, like I said, I'm gonna do the group for all E guitars, all the electric guitars, because they are like overpowering the acoustic guitars on that part. So let's see if we turn them down a little bit, it'll help help complement each other better. That's the only thing, like, that's the only part of the song I would say that's like poorly produced, because they could have did without this part while like everything is playing. Remember, I said mute some stuff and see what's lacking and what could stay in. I can tell this first acoustic guitar, when this gets EQ, it's going to be able to cut through. a little bit of saturation. All right, so let's listen to lead into the chorus part. Let's see what we got and try to compare it to what we had.
Adrenaline is flowing through my veins.
See, I decided to boost the gain on the vocals because it's going to need that. But for the most part, that's it. Start with leveling, panning. We got mostly everything a good balance. So a lot of stuff doesn't need EQ. Some stuff does. A lot of stuff doesn't need compression. Some stuff does. So your mix is going to be halfway done if you start like this. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what other audio engineering tips you need help with next. Thank you.